overall strategy?
So this has been something, they've been interested in sports betting at Susquehanna for a very long time, even just as an extracurricular activity. This Nelly Analytics division came up around about 2017 or so. It's named after Jeff Yass, one of the co-founders' dogs, as a matter of fact. So it's a kind of cool side venture for them and something that they're passionate about on the side as well.
All right, so while we have you here, we've got to ask you, a lot going on in the investing world right now.
Yeah, there's this deal that seems like it wasn't going to happen. Now it's happening.
And now it's happening. What do you we got a couple minutes left. What do you make of it?
What deal could you possibly be talking about?
Hey, there were a few this day. There's a lot going on.
Yes, so Charles Schwab has made it official, and they're buying TD Ameritrade for about $26 billion. And it's really a deal that's going to combine, two huge retail brokers in an increasingly crunched industry.
Right.
Last month, we saw the huge wave of brokerages spurred on by Schwab going to zero on their trading commissions. So this is just another step. This consolidation is just another step showing how rough it is out there.
Fair to say we may be reading about this in Bloomberg Business Week.
I mean, you're going to be reading about it in these pages. And here's the thing, it actually makes you think that there's going to be just more consolidation coming. This is noteworthy for sure. Schwab is huge. TD's huge. Together they're going to get bigger, but who says that it's over yet, right? There's still more things out there.
There's more companies. And is it just about online trading? I mean, we've all been saying, okay, so how do they make money? I was hearing an interview this morning on Surveillance, Bloomberg Surveillance, that talked about their role as a custodian here for registered investment advisors. Is it all about that business? What's it about?
That's right. It consolidates some of the same RIA customers at TD Ameritrade also apply to Schwab. So they say that they can kind of draw out those efficiencies because, on the retail side, also on the RIA side. So they both have these custody services.
All right. Well,
and it's the consequences of all these trades going to zero, right?
Exactly.
At the moment that commissions disappear, then there's going to be carnage, and it's kind of amazing it's taken this long, frankly, because now it's a bloodbath.
Well, and this is what Chuck Schwab kicked off back in the 1970s.
Your interview, right,
exactly.
where he hinted at consolidation.
He did indeed.
Not hinted, he actually said it, right?
Yeah, he actually said it. Annie Massa, investing reporter for Bloomberg here in our Bloomberg Interactive Broker Studio. Joel Weber, he's back in New York City, the editor of Bloomberg Business Week. You're listening to Bloomberg Business Week right here on Bloomberg Radio.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stock prices remain higher in the final hour. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 150. The S&P 500 up 19. The Nasdaq Composite up 102. Charles Schwab, CEO, is downplaying the risk that antitrust regulators will get in the way of his firm's purchase of TD Ameritrade. Walt Bettinger told a conference call there are still many competitors, some of which are larger than the merged firm will be. A top UAW official says negotiations with Fiat Chrysler have made a lot of progress, but tough issues remain. In an email to members, UAW Vice President Cindy Estrada downplayed what she calls outside distractions. Ford is crying foul after a Tesla video showed its new Cybertruck pulling a screeching F-150 up a hill. Ford calls it an apples to oranges comparison, saying the video showed an all-wheel drive Cybertruck challenging a two-wheel drive F-150. Larry Kofsky, Bloomberg Radio.
Open calendar. What's my schedule looking like?
Next Thursday, you will be caught in an emergency flash flood between Park and First Street.
What? No, that doesn't work. I'm busy then. Decline. Decline.
Floods don't exactly work around your schedule. Disasters don't plan ahead. But you can. It starts with talking to your loved ones about making an emergency plan. So don't wait. Communicate. Get started today at ready.gov/plan. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Are you interested in a challenging and exciting career? One where you can be part of solving complex challenges across industries and geographies. Bloomberg's ever-expanding technology, data, news, and media services foster innovation, empower clients, and offer nearly limitless opportunities for career growth. Visit Bloomberg.com/careers today to view our current job opportunities. Bloomberg LP is an equal opportunity employer. The address once again is Bloomberg.com/careers.
I love Black Friday. Busy shops, crazy people, average deals. It's so much fun.
Said no one ever. So be savvy and do Black Friday the easy way with Smarty. Grab a huge 100 gig data SIM for just £17 a month on the mega plan. And with no credit checks, speed restrictions or contracts tying you down, you can kick back with the best Black Friday deal around. Now that's Smarty. Search Smarty Mobile to find out more, but hurry, as this deal won't be around for long. See smarty.co.uk for terms.
At Lidl, we're big on all those Christmas parties. The season to be jolly. Try our Party Time Indian snack selection for only $2.99. And our Party Time mac and cheese bites for just $1.19. Big on a Christmas you can believe in. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores excludes an eye.
This year, make Christmas shopping a pleasure. Come to Bicester Village, with over 160 beautiful boutiques set in a fairy tale Cotswolds Christmas garden, glittering by day and magically illuminated by night. After a day's hard work finding the perfect gifts, reward yourself with festive menus and cocktails at Farm Shop Restaurant and Cafe by Soho House & Co. or a delicious dinner at Cafe Wolseley. Bicester Village, the perfect place for Christmas shopping.
Coffee shop, cashback, cat flaps, cashback, beanbags, rucksack, hire car, buy a car, flapjack, cashback, dumbbells, cashback, takeaway, holiday to anywhere the sun is at, bum bag, laptop, big match, hatchback, binge watching, paintballing, crab fishing, cashback, anything you want to buy, everywhere you want to go. Guess what? Cashback. Whatever you spend your money on, get money back every time with the American Express Platinum Cashback Everyday Credit Card. Search Amex Cashback. Representative 22.9% APR variable. Minimum annual spend to receive cashback. Terms apply. 18 plus subject to approval.
If your ideas challenge the status quo, if you have advised people you had no right advising, if you built companies and lost companies and built them again, if you've been called a pillock, a dreamer, an innovator and a genius, if you thrive in the 11th hour, if you have blown it and completely nailed it in the same day, prepare for your next departure.
Do business right. Travel Virgin Atlantic.
Are you curious what others are listening to on TuneIn? Head to the trending section under Browse to see the most popular stations and podcasts among TuneIn listeners right now. Check it out. You might just discover something new for yourself.
From ESPN and the award-winning producers of The Sterling Affairs comes the latest season of 30 for 30 podcasts. 4 brand new stories of espionage.
He wanted this team to be the Barcelona of women's basketball.
Resilience.
I started to scream. I tried to get away.
Corruption.
It's the culture of win at all costs.
And rebirth.
How will we ever rebuild it?
30 for 30 Podcasts, Season 6. Listen in favorite 30 for 30 podcasts on TuneIn.
Pascal gobbles up the rebound and slams it down.
Catch your favorite NBA team right here on TuneIn.
A step back deep three is up and in.
Search NBA on TuneIn and hear all the action. The NBA lives on TuneIn.
Broadcasting live from the Bloomberg Interactive Brokers Studio in New York. Bloomberg 1130 to Washington, D.C. Bloomberg 99.1 to Boston. Bloomberg 106.1 to San Francisco. Bloomberg 960 to the country. Sirius XM Channel 119 and around the globe. The Bloomberg Business app and BloombergRadio.com. This is Bloomberg Business Week.
So it's one of our most read stories on the Bloomberg. It has to do with an individual, a lot of money, and where that individual is investing.
Right. And it's interesting to break it down geographically because I feel like this isn't necessarily something we've talked as much about. So we're teasing it.
How well did we do that one?
I think very well.
Okay, let's get a check on your top business stories. Nothing like patting ourselves on our back. Charlie Bella, take it away.
Hi, thank you very much. Here's what's going on. We've got 28 minutes to go ahead of the closing bell with the Dow, the S&P, and NASDAQ. Best level of the day right now on the Dow, up 180 points, up 0.6%. S&P climbing to a record, up 22, 31.33, up 0.7%. NASDAQ also surging to a record, up 110 points, now at 86.29. That's a gain of 1.3%. Again, 28 minutes to go. Stay with Bloomberg just to find out where we do close at and, of course, how Asian markets react tonight. Equities climbing to records on optimism over China trade. S&P and NASDAQ again at records after China said over the weekend it will tighten intellectual property rules, a move aimed at boosting the chances of a trade deal between the two largest economies. Torsten Slok is chief economist at Deutsche Bank.
We need a trade deal sooner rather than later to make sure that this confidence hangs over, not only over markets in terms of the political implications, but more importantly, also on how CEOs and CFOs think about this, because otherwise we might pivot from trade war uncertainty to election uncertainty.
TD Ameritrade Holding up 7.8%. Schwab up 2.4%. They did make it official today. Schwab buying TD Ameritrade. And the French luxury goods maker LVMH buying Tiffany for $16 billion, $135 in cash. Tiffany shares now at $133.40, up by 6.3%. 10-year up 230 seconds, yield 1.76%. Gold down 0.5. West Texas Intermediate crude up 0.5%, 58.04 a barrel. I'm Charlie Pelleton. That is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
Charlie, thanks so much. You're listening to Bloomberg Business Week right here on Bloomberg Radio. This is a great song. This is a deep REM cut from one of their later albums.
Indeed it is.
Love the song.
I've been high. You could say that about consumer sentiment, which is why I picked it to go with the chart of the day. Basically looking at the relationship between consumer stocks and consumer sentiment. It was an issue that the folks at Bespoke Investment Group brought up in a post on Friday. So I decided to take a closer look. And the way that I gauged sentiment was to take the University of Michigan's Consumer Confidence Index and then get average readings over 12 months. So it kind of smooths out the bumps. And when you run the numbers like that, you see that the average peaked in September, matched its high in December, and it's been coming down pretty much all of this year. I mean, there's still a whole lot of optimism out there among consumers, don't get me wrong, but it's not like, you know, it was rising as it had been pretty much going back to 2009. That's the period that the chart covers. And so what's happened as you've seen this sentiment gauge come down, you know, initially you saw the S&P 500 Consumer Discretionary Index, which is like retailers, home builders, automakers, I mean, industries that really count on consumers' willingness to spend. They managed to come back from a real fourth quarter slump that they had along with the rest of the stock market. But in the past few months, they've kind of topped out, plateaued a bit here, you might say. And that's sort of interesting, especially as we go into the holiday shopping season. So, you know, given that sentiment isn't quite as enthusiastic as it was this time last year, what does it mean for retailers coming down the line, especially with the kind of gains I was talking about earlier in the show with some of these beaten down retail stocks? It's going to bear watching. And if you want to see this chart, folks, send me an email. I'll get it to you along with the explanation that goes with it and everything I do going forward. The email address is dwilson@bloomberg.net. That's dwilson@bloomberg.net.
It's an interesting story. I'd love to break it down, too, because we know auto sales have been down, but we've also heard a lot of investment guys talk about home builder activity and that people have been stepping up purchasing homes, which is certainly a more positive indicator. So there's lots of ways to kind of go through it.
Right.
Dave Wilson, smart stuff as always.
Speaking of stepping up purchasing, let's understand what
Nice.
a big money manager is doing out there. Divya Balji is a senior editor for Bloomberg. She joins us on the phone from our Toronto bureau. $100 billion woman. You've got that in the headline. Divya, tell us who we're talking about.
Hi there. So, you know, she's not exactly the most, she's not someone that we actually write about a lot, but she's definitely making waves out here in Toronto. She manages over $100 billion, like you said, in funds. In fact, she manages money for over 1 million Canadians. And on top of that, she oversees funds under the Select banner, which is extremely popular here, including one that is over $30 billion in assets. Now, what Sarah is saying is that, you know, stocks have been doing really, really well. For a while there, she was actually pulling back her weighting just a little bit, but now she feels like, okay, you know, there's no point in going into the U.S. and Canada at this point, but maybe I should be looking at Europe and Asia. And that's where she's been putting a bit of money over the last month or so. So much so that she's boosted her weighting in stocks from 59% to 57% across her funds, mostly in Europe and Asia.
Is she good with her calls? What's her performance like? Yeah.
So that select fund that I was telling you about, that has about 30 billion in funds. She's beating her peers by about almost 90% over the last year. So she's had quite a bit of success when it comes to some of her funds. And, she's not the only one who's saying to buy into Europe and Asia right now. A lot more strategists are coming out over the last couple of days just saying it's now is the time to get back into these markets. Things are looking a little better, and it's also much cheaper in Europe and in Asia. So, what she's suggesting seems to be a bit of a chorus going on out there.
And I just want to point out, I don't know how long she's been at the fund, but I'm looking at the 5-year performance, and it's been in the 89th percentile. So it's been, consistently beating most of its peers. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting, Divya, also to think about this, and that if people do end up sort of rotating, as it were, into Europe, that really helps sustain this narrative of maybe this bull market continues because the world starts to look better, not just the U.S.
Exactly. And things have sort of been easing a little bit in Europe and in Asia. You'll see the overnight news that we had about China, and, sort of coming together a little bit on the trade side. In Europe, the no-deal Brexit is something that people are not as concerned about before. And then, of course, there's economic growth as well, which was such a huge issue maybe 6 months ago. Right. And now the numbers are showing something slightly different. But ultimately it comes down to valuation.
Got it. Great story. Divya Balshi, senior editor at Bloomberg News, on the phone from our Toronto bureau. Right now, let's get a check on world and national news headlines. Over to Bob Moon we go.
Carol, President Trump met with the special forces on that raid that killed the leader of the Islamic State, along with their dog. Bloomberg's Irv Chapman from the White House.
Only the dog, named Conan, was brought out, along with Melania Trump and Vice President Pence, to be photographed.
Conan came over from the Middle East, just arrived with some of the great people from the special forces that did the incredible, flawless attack. Al-Baghdadi is gone, and we just gave Conan a medal and a plaque.
The president called Conan a tough cookie, but Conan sat placidly with a scrum of photographers and press. At the White House, Irv Chapman, Bloomberg Radio.
A New York utility that imposed a natural gas hookup moratorium after the state rejected its pipeline plans has agreed to restore gas service and pay $36 million in penalties. Governor Andrew Cuomo calls the agreement with National Grid a victory for customers. How do you solve the problem when the power company keeps shutting off your electricity whenever there's a chance windy weather might spark a wildfire, repeatedly causing headaches for the public? More than 20 mayors and county officials in shutdown-plagued California say if Pacific Gas and Electric can't run the utility reliably, make it publicly operated.
By creating a customer-owned utility, we'll first be able to align the financial interests of the company with the public interest.
San Jose Mayor Sam Liccardo is pushing a proposal that's become very popular with utility customers who are increasingly complaining this is no way to run a power company. The officials are urging state regulators to consider a public takeover before the deadline for PG&E to resolve its bankruptcy. The company has had to pay out millions in settlements from lawsuits over wildfires its power lines sparked. Global News 24 hours a day, on air, and a TikTok on Twitter. I'm Bob Moon.
Why do hedge funds and other alternative managers rely on Pershing? Mark Alderati, a managing director at BNY Mellon's Pershing and head of Prime Services, explains.
In today's environment of market volatility, Pershing's Prime Services is well positioned to support the needs of hedge funds and other alternative investment managers. Whether it's customized financing or securities lending solutions, platform access, or business expansion, BNY Mellon's Pershing is a prime broker who's committed to this business and agile enough to meet your evolving demands. Pershing helps to solve the needs of clients by advocating for them, providing unwavering strength, deep supply, and award-winning service that is at the core of everything we do. Find out what sets Pershing's prime brokerage team apart.
Learn more about the unique and industry-leading solutions for hedge funds and other alternative managers offered by BNY Mellon's Pershing. Visit our website at Pershing.com. Pershing LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but you thought it'd be too hard or take too much time? Then go to Babbel.com, download the app, and try it for free. In just 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. And right now, you can try Babbel for free. Babbel starts out teaching you words and phrases by matching them with pictures. You won't believe how easy the interactive program is. Soon the sentences get a little bigger, and before you know it, you're having simulated conversations voiced by native speakers. And because Babbel is crafted by language experts and uses the spaced repetition method, in just 10 to 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking the language of your choice with real confidence. With Babbel, you can speak a language. Just go to Babbel.com and start your first lesson in the language of your choice for free. Download the Babbel app or go to Babbel.com and try it for free. That's BABBEL.com.
At Lidl, we're big on those little reasons to be jolly. Like our delicious Favorina all-butter mini Stollen bites for just $1.99. And 6 deluxe mince pies for just $1.35. Big on a Christmas you can believe in. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores excludes an eye.
On 3, our unlimited data is actually unlimited, like for reals. That means you can scroll and scroll and scroll through all the Black Friday deals.
Because we have no speed limits, no data caps, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost.
Wow, so many savings.
Our Black Friday deals are now on. Save up to £480. Switch to 3, in-store or online. See 3.co.uk/unlimited-data. Savings on selected phones on 24-month contracts. Ends 5th of December. Terms apply.
If you're planning on driving this weekend, expect delays on the A406 North Circular Road. There'll be road closures between Tottenham and Edmonton from 10 p.m. on Friday the 22nd of November to 5 a.m. on Monday the 25th of November, while we carry out essential maintenance and repairs. All roads in the surrounding area will be extremely busy, so please allow more time for your journey and expect delays in the area. Plan ahead and check alternative routes at tfl.gov.uk. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
Coffee shop, cashback, cat flaps, cashback, beanbags, rucksack, hire car, buy a car, flapjack, cashback, dumbbells, cashback, takeaway, holiday to anywhere the sun is at, bum bag, laptop, big match, hatchback, binge watching, paintballing, crab fishing, cashback, anything you want to buy, everywhere you want to go. Guess what? Cashback. Whatever you spend your money on, get money back every time with the American Express Platinum Cashback Everyday Credit Card. Search Amex Cashback. Representative 22.9% APR variable. Minimum annual spend to receive cashback. Terms apply. 18 plus subject to approval.
At Ring, we've reinvented the doorbell. So no matter where you are, you can watch over your home and the things you care about. Ring Video Doorbell streams HD video and two-way talk straight to your phone, so you can speak to whoever's at your door from anywhere.
Delivery.
Oh, great. Could you leave it with my neighbour, please?
Sure, no problem.
See, hear and speak to whoever's at your door from wherever you are with Ring Video Doorbell. For exclusive Black Friday offers on selected video doorbells and cameras, visit ring.com and major retailers.
The puck drops. 12 players face off to win. The suspense is pure torture, but you wouldn't miss this for the world. TuneIn brings you every minute of the NHL season. Listen live to hockey when it matters most on TuneIn.
From ESPN and the award-winning producers of The Sterling Affairs comes the latest season of 30 for 30 podcasts. 4 brand new stories of espionage.
He wanted this team to be the Barcelona of women's basketball.
Resilience.
I started to scream. I tried to get away.
Corruption.
It's the culture of win at all costs.
And rebirth.
How will we ever rebuild it?
30 for 30 Podcasts, Season 6. Listen in favorite 30 for 30 podcasts on TuneIn.
Introducing a new podcast, ESPN Daily. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Mina Kimes. Listen and favorite ESPN Daily on TuneIn.
Want to hear about the latest and greatest things to listen to on TuneIn? For reminders of the biggest live sports games, debates, and breaking news stories, follow @TuneIn on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay connected with the audio that matters to you.
This is not a commercial. This is a reminder. With TuneIn Premium, you could be listening to more music commercial-free. Get over 45 commercial-free music stations. Visit TuneIn.com/premium to upgrade.
Want to know a quick, easy way to see if your favorite podcasts have a new episode available? Just go to the home screen on your TuneIn app and see the latest editions under the Your New Episode section. Happy listening.
markets, headlines, and breaking news 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com, the Bloomberg Business app, and at TikTok on Twitter. This is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
From Bloomberg World Headquarters, I'm Charlie Pellet. We've got 13 minutes to go ahead of the closing bell. The Dow, the S&P, NASDAQ, and the Russell 2000 all at records right now, with the S&P up 21 at 3131, a gain of 0.7%. Dow Jones Industrial Average at 28,049, higher by 173 points. On track for a record close there as well, up 0.6. NASDAQ at a record up 109 points, up 1.3%. As for the why behind all of this, familiar reason, optimism about a China trade deal. We've got the 10-year up 2/30 seconds yield right now, 1.76%. Gold is retreating by 0.5%, $14.55 the ounce. And crude oil, West Texas Intermediate up 0.5%, $58.03 a barrel. Recapping stocks higher, S&P up 21, a gain of 0.7%. I'm Charlie Pellet, and that is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
I'm driving in my car. I turn on the radio.
How about you let me drive?
Oh, no. Who's gonna drive you home? Honey, please, I'll do the driving. Drive on. Excuse me, I want to drive.
Just drive, baby.
It's the question that drives us.
This is the Drive to the Close.
That funky music will drive us till the dawn.
On Bloomberg Radio.
Yes, indeed. Monday. Just got about 12 minutes left in today's trading day, and it is time for the Drive to the Close. Jordan Pence is back with us, economist, and Chief Investment Officer at Pence Wealth Management. Little of the cinnamon in my cappuccino catching me there, Jordan. Sorry.
From 2 hours ago?
I've been sipping away. Based in Newport Beach, California, he's back in our Bloomberg Interactive Broker studio here in New York. We've been having actually a great conversation before we've gotten going. Nice to have you back with us.
I love how we're planning to talk about what's going on across the country, and Carol Master leads it in by I just choked on the cinnamon in my cappuccino. Anyway, it's a different world out there, Dryden Pence. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on out there in the world. You're going home to Arkansas for the Thanksgiving holiday. You have such a fascinating background, too. You were a colonel in the Army. Do I have that right?
Right. Yeah.
You specialize in intelligence and all sorts of things. I have to think you get your ideas maybe a little bit differently than some Excel jockey out there.
Well, we actually do. I mean, first of all, you can start looking at the data, but it's really important to get out and do boots on the ground research and go out into the rest of the country. Some of the things that we do is a couple of times a year, I'll take off the three-piece suit, put on the blue jeans, and show up at whatever the local watering hole where the UPS and FedEx drivers hang out, and listen to how busy they are, because they'll be able to tell you, who's busy and who's not, and what's happening out there. And if you can look at that, you can tell a lot about a local economy, and you can tell a lot about a national economy by just getting out on the ground, get away from the computer, get out in the real world and listen.
Because I think that's interesting, because I think folks have come back and they said, okay, here we are, those major equity averages hitting record after record, but maybe something like transports, which is up 19%, that's pretty impressive, but they're saying it's not up on the par of, what we're seeing in the overall broader market. And that to them says, okay, it's not as healthy an economy. From what you're seeing, boots on the ground research, where are we?
Well, I think that the bottom line is there are 2 million more people working today than there were this time last year. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've really begun to see a continued job growth, and that many more people working, making a salary. If you've got a job, your Christmas is going to be better for your family this year than it was last year. So you're beginning to see that work its way through the economy, work its way through the entire part of the country, and that makes a difference. So the big fundamental thing we see is that the fundamental economy is doing well, consumers doing well, more people working, making more money than ever before, 2 million more people on a payroll.
It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that.
So what about something like the big macro, like U.S.-China trade? How do you factor that in, or do you?
We look at trade wars end. I've said that before. And we think that what's going to happen, the U.S.-China trade deal, eventually it's over. I mean, they have a pea shooter, we have a bazooka, and we're going to win. And the point of the matter is are we going to get some headline volatility about that between now and then? The Chinese tried to slow roll the president, and they made a deal, then they backed away. They made a deal, and they backed away. And I think they got some bad information from their various consulates. They have 6 consulates. They have New York, Washington, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Houston. Well, at 5 of those 6, if you're having on the cocktail party circuit, you don't think that President Trump is going to win re-election. And so what happens is they probably got some bad information. And it's not about the re-election per se, but it's whether or not they're going to be able to get away with slow rolling the president. I don't think they can, and I don't think they have time. Every day that this goes on, we get stronger, they get weaker. And so sooner or later, this China thing ends. This headline volatility around it is going to bounce around the market. But as we move into next year, we see a strengthening U.S. economy. We see trade friction abate. They need to make a deal worse than we do. And that bodes very well for the American consumer and American businesses.
So let's synthesize those two things into talking about some names that may or may not be exposed at the moment. But if they're not exposed to U.S.-China trade, may be poised to do some good things. Talk to me about Walmart.
I think what's very interesting, particularly in this holiday season, is Walmart is actually beginning to really get its positioning on e-commerce. And 25% of the country gets their groceries at Walmart. They're going to this place every
25%.
week. 25%. And so now when you think about that, Walmart is being able to gradually move into e-commerce, expand that. They're going to be able to be a rival to Amazon over time, we think. I actually sent one of our guys to do some boots on the ground research in Houston as go to Walmart, buy the PCE shopping basket, see if they'll deliver it to the car. How does all that work? And then when you're done, it's Thanksgiving, so give it to a homeless shelter. And that's what they did. But it was a flawless experience for him. And so he went, and they've got it down. And that's important in the process of consumer activity. And so Walmart has been able to really begin to take their expertise and move it towards this omni-channel experience with a customer where you're in the store, you're in the car, you're online, you're everywhere. So we think that if someone's going to be able to rival Amazon in e-commerce, it'll gradually be Walmart.
All right, so we were talking about Amazon a little while ago, and Amazon versus Allbirds, and obviously sneakers is a very specific niche here. But where do you put Amazon in your basket at this point, as it were, pun intended? And how do you think about it as a stock?
We still like it. It's one of our largest holdings. It will continue to be one of our largest holdings.
But is it the retail play? Is it the cloud play? What is it?
I think it's the play around they know so much more about the American consumer than anybody else. They know what you're going to buy almost before you buy it. And because of that, they're always probably have the ability. This goes back to being an intelligence officer. If you kind of know what people are going to do in advance, you can be there in front of it. And so Amazon has all this information that they can glean and they can use, and they can be ahead of the consumer psyche, and they can exploit that and take advantage of it.
Does it get them in trouble, though, especially with techlash? We talk about it so much. Does it get them into trouble, Jordan?
I don't think people are going to throw away their mobile phones. I don't think people are going to give up on the convenience of being able to get what they need. I think actually, when you think about it, some of the fastest users of these things are senior citizens, because now they don't have to go out and go shopping anymore. Everything can be delivered to them. So this transformation of the consumer experience plays right into what Amazon is dominant in. Unless everybody's going to go take your mobile device and go throw it in the river, they're going to be dominant for very long.
I know we don't have time, but I know MasterCard, Visa kind of plays into this, right? Because somebody's got to do all the transactions.
Yeah. Absolutely. 85% of all the transactions in the U.S., 96% of all of them in Europe. The payment systems
They're going through these guys?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Great to catch up as always. Have a happy Thanksgiving there back home in Arkansas. Dryden Pence, Chief Investment Officer, Pence Capital Management, usually based out in Newport Beach, here with us in New York City. You're listening to Bloomberg Business Week here on Bloomberg.
On 3, our unlimited data is actually unlimited, like 4 reels. That means you can scroll and scroll and scroll through all the Black Friday deals.
Because we have no speed limits, no data caps, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost.
Wow, so many savings.
Our Black Friday deals are now on. Save up to £480. Switch to 3, in-store or online. See 3.co.uk/unlimited-data. Savings on selected phones on 24-month contracts. Ends 5th of December. Terms apply.
If you're planning on driving this weekend, expect delays on the A406 North Circular Road. There'll be road closures between Tottenham and Edmonton from 10 p.m. on Friday the 22nd of November to 5 a.m. on Monday the 25th of November, while we carry out essential maintenance and repairs. All roads in the surrounding area will be extremely busy, so please allow more time for your journey and expect delays in the area. Plan ahead and check alternative routes at tfl.gov.uk. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
Coffee shop, cashback, cat flaps, cashback, beanbags, rucksack, hire car, buy a car, flapjack, cashback, dumbbells, cashback, takeaway, holiday to anywhere the sun is at, bum bag, laptop, big match, hatchback, binge watching, paintballing, crab fishing, cashback, anything you want to buy, everywhere you want to go. Guess what? Cashback. Whatever you spend your money on, get money back every time with the American Express Platinum Cashback Everyday Credit Card. Search Amex Cashback. Representative 22.9% APR variable. Minimum annual spend to receive cashback. Terms apply. 18 plus subject to approval.
Hey, NFL fan. Can't watch the game? Can't be there? No biggie. With your TuneIn Premium membership, you already have an all-access pass to every team and every game in the league. Amazing, right?
Steps up, floats it towards, at the goal line, it's intercepted!
Listen live as the action unfolds or on demand when you can. Anytime, anywhere, all season long.
Right side, it is caught. It is in for the right side for the touchdown to Keenan.
Search NFL today.
Introducing a new podcast, ESPN Daily. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Mina Kimes. Listen and favorite ESPN Daily on TuneIn.
Capital of the world, 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com, on the Bloomberg Business app, and at TikTok on Twitter. This is Bloomberg Radio. Markets, headlines, and breaking news 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com, the Bloomberg Business app, and at TikTok on Twitter. This is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
From Bloomberg World Headquarters, I'm Charlie Pellet. Records on Wall Street. The Dow, the S&P, NASDAQ, and the Russell 2000 all climbing to records, with the S&P at the closing bell up 23 points, a gain of 0.7%. The Dow rallying 190 points, up 0.7%, closing at the best level of the session. NASDAQ up 112 points, a gain there of just about 1.3%. Two developing stories. Star Board Value taking a stake in CVS Health. This according to a headline from the Dow Jones News Service. CVS shares up right now by 1.7%. Again, that story breaking just about 2 minutes ahead of the closing bell. Also, Westpac says CEO Brian Hartzer will be stepping down on December 2nd. But a move higher for stocks today. U.S. stocks climbed to records on optimism over China trade relations, along with a fresh wave of merger and acquisition activity. As for the U.S. economy and the market and the overall economic backdrop, Dryden Pence is Chief Investment Officer at Pence Capital Management. He was our guest moments ago right here on Bloomberg Business Week.
The bottom line is there are 2 million more people working today than there were this time last year. I mean, we've really begun to see a continued job growth, and that many more people working, making a salary. If you've got a job, your Christmas is going to be better for your family this year than it was last year. So you're beginning to see that work its way through the economy, work its way through the entire part of the country, and that makes a difference.
The 10-year up 2.30 yield 1.76%. Gold up down 0.5%, 14.54 the ounce. Crude oil higher today. West Texas Intermediate crude advancing by 0.4%, 57.98 a barrel. Lots of deals today. Schwab making it official, buying TD Ameritrade. TD Ameritrade rallying 7.6%. Schwab up by 2.3%. Again, recapping the Dow, the S&P, and NASDAQ. Russell 2000 as well, climbing to records. S&P up 23, a gain of 0.8%. I'm Charlie Pelleton. That is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
Your next move will be your last.
Nobody move a muscle. Damn, Sippy, you got some moves. And I'm moving on from town to town. Time is money. money. Let's go. Come on, move it. Shake it up.
Shake it up. Bloomberg Business Week. Movers and Shakers with Carol Masser and Jason Kelly on Bloomberg Radio.
It is time to take a look at some of the movers and shakers on this Monday. And keep in mind, we're waiting earnings expected to cross the Bloomberg terminal at any moment from HPE. So we'll break them down as soon as they do cross the terminal. In the meantime, big picture, folks, 387 names in the S&P 500 higher today, 116 lower, 2 unchanged. And we did see a few retail brands among your biggest gainers, including L Brands. That stock was up 6.4%. And Tiffany was up more than 6.2%. Of course, LVMH finally signed, sealed, and delivering that M&A deal. Really, it's a takeover deal, and buying Tiffany, and that sent that stock up more than 6%. It's been out there in the markets for a few weeks now. We've seen Tiffany head higher on the news as a result of it being a target. But again, Tiffany ending up 6.2% at $133.29 a share. And I think the final was the final offer. Was it? It was $16 billion, I think, in total.
Yeah, 16 and change, I believe. Yeah. One area that was getting a little bit of love earlier in the markets, looking at the video game sector, both Activision and EA, Electronic Arts, of course. A Baird analyst coming out and saying the holiday games outlook pretty positive. So both of those stocks were up, not a huge amount, but Activision up 1.3%. So one of your better performers out there for sure. And, video games are such an interesting, they're cyclical, they're hit-based. We learned that in depth from our own Matthew Canterman, who's now over in Asia, doing like big things around Apple and so many things. But I miss having him around.
I miss having him around as well.
Holiday moment for Matthew Canterman.
Did you see this headline? Did this just cross a few minutes ago? Starboard Value taking a stake in CVS Health.
Yes.
Which I find very interesting. Sorry. What was that show? Remember way back when? Hogan's Heroes?
Yeah.
That's where I was going back to.
Throwback machine.
Wow. Okay, so CVS Health up 1.7% for the day overall. Just looking to see, it's down about 0.25% here in the after hours, but I think it's interesting. The activist investors, man, they have been out front and center. This story coming from Dow Jones, Starboard Value, taking a stake in CVS Health, holding talks apparently with the company's management, according to Dow Jones, citing people familiar with what's going on here. Stake appears to be relatively small. Talks are amicable, but we did see CVS shares, as I mentioned, higher in today's session.
We are waiting news from HPE, actually, right? HPE, I believe, may be out.
Let's take a look.
Let's take a look, shall we?
Yep, just crossing.
Yeah. Fourth quarter adjusted EPS coming in at 49 cents. The estimate there was 46 cents rather. So that is a beat. And the first quarter adjusted EPS view at the midpoint beats the estimate. First quarter adjusted EPS 42 cents to 46 cents. The estimate is for 43 cents. Do you have a look at the shares?
Stock's down about 2.25% here in the after hours. You broke down the EPS number. Fourth quarter revenue was $7.22 billion. So again, these numbers are just crossing as we speak. And that fourth quarter net revenue, the estimate was for $7.42. So that looks like that's a bit of a miss. And that may be why we're seeing some selling here. Fourth quarter cash flow from operations, $1.43 billion. Still sees 2020 adjusted EPS of $1.78 to $1.94. The estimate out there is $1.87. That's quite a range that's out there. And it does look like the range is fairly consistent, maybe pulling it in just a little bit.
All right, taking a look at volatility, the VIX down 3.3%, closing, this is sort of a WOA number, below 12, closing at 11.93. This is Bloomberg.
All right, Dave, you're up.
Hi, my name is Dave.
Wilson, where are you? Wilson!
Just what do you think you're doing, Dave?
We're going for a price on Wilson. Open up the door, it's Dave. Who? Dave.
Hey, Mr. Wilson. Dave Wilson back with us with his stock of the day. What you got?
I've got UMA. Yeah, there you go. UMA provides internet-based telephone service for homes and businesses and operates a residential security service. UMA was founded in 2004 and began selling its phone equipment in 2007. The company went public in 2015 The ticker is also the company name, and it's spelled OOMA. UMA was a busted IPO. During the first 8 months of trading, the stock tumbled as much as 58% from its initial public offering price of $13 a share. UMA rebounded to set a record in September of last year. Then came another retreat, which sent the shares back below $13 this past April. Along the way, though, UMA built up a track record of reporting narrower losses and higher revenue than analysts expected in Bloomberg surveys. Now, fiscal third quarter results came out late Thursday, and they brought an unexpected profit. Sales beat projections as well. UMA climbed Friday by 8.1% and more than matched that gain today. The shares added 9%, producing the biggest two-day advance since August 2017. And the closing price on UMA, $13.13.
Hey, there you go. Just a quick note on the VIX. I was just looking at the SINS function. VIX is at its lowest point since October 3rd, 2018.
Wow.
Also, Dave Wilson, important point going back to your chart of the day. Have you heard the new Michael Stipe single?
I haven't. I've got to give it a better listen.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
You were going to ask him about what classic rock the turkeys were listening
Oh, yeah.
to.
Did you hear that the turkeys that are involved in the presidential pardon are fans of classic rock? We're hoping you can make them a playlist.
Oh, Lord.
What would
a turkey like?
Of course, Alice's Restaurant. Well, maybe not.
Oh,
I don't know.
Too soon.
I got to tell you, I'm looking at the red headline on Hewlett-Packard Enterprise with their fiscal fourth quarter revenue coming up short of estimates.
All right.
We covered
that. We covered that before you came in.
Good.
We're on it.
We're on
I
it.
know, they're a little, whatever.
We're on it. Stock's
All right.
down
Think
3.2%.
about classic rock and turkeys, though. We're going to come back to you on that.
Classic rock and turkey.
All right. We're going to get back to Bob Moon now. He's got World National Headlines. Hey, Bob.
It's Thanksgiving. They would like thank you for being a friend. President Trump took on rapid-fire questions from the press as he hosted the Bulgarian Prime Minister at the White House today. Trump stood by his decision to interfere in the punishment of disgraced Navy SEAL Edward Gallagher and even pointed out that President Obama approved a prisoner swap to get AWOL Army soldier Bo Bergdahl released from a Taliban prison, and he pardoned Chelsea Manning of her espionage court-martial.
So when you have a Chelsea Manning who stole classified information and did many, many things that were not good and gets pardoned or whatever happened, and you have a Sergeant Bergdahl who gets virtually nothing happens, a slap on the wrist, and then they want to put these warriors in jail for 25 years?
Defense Secretary Mark Esper fired the Navy Secretary Richard Spencer over the conflict with the president yesterday. Even as the impeachment proceedings move forward, the Trump administration and Democrats in Congress are cooperating, putting forth plans aimed at reducing the cost of prescription drugs. Bloomberg's Herb Chapman reports.
There's also a role for companies that insure their employees and often use pharmacy benefit managers, expecting the PBMs to control costs. Gerard Anderson, professor of health policy at Johns Hopkins University, said in a Bloomberg interview,
"We're asking large corporations to look at what drugs they have on their list. Unnecessary, ineffective drugs, having the branded drug on the formulary because the PBM gets some money and the generic won't pay a rebate to them."
Anderson also pointed out that most new drugs result from university research financed by federal tax dollars. At the White House, Herb Chapman, Bloomberg Radio.
Global news 24 hours a day, on air and at TikTok, on Twitter. I'm Bob Moon.
You can't be the only one who spends time examining angles,
This sort of mini deal, what would it look like?
considering possibilities,
From a credit perspective, this is good news.
planning for eventualities.
This company really has to get back on a growth track.
You're right. The others are here.
General Electric is such an interesting story.
Bloomberg Markets with Lisa Abramowitz and Paul Sweeney. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on Bloomberg Radio, the Bloomberg Business app, and BloombergRadio.com. Bloomberg, the world is listening.
Right now, Doctors Without Borders medical teams are operating in some of the most remote and dangerous corners of the world. When front yards become front lines, at the crossroads of conflict and epidemic, where there are no hospitals, that's where we operate. Your response is critical to our response in places where few others will go. That's where we operate. Learn more at doctorswithoutborders.org.
Are you interested in a challenging and exciting career? One where you can be part of solving complex challenges across industries and geographies. Bloomberg's ever-expanding technology, data, news, and media services foster innovation, empower clients, and offer nearly limitless opportunities for career growth. Visit Bloomberg.com/today to view our current job opportunities. Bloomberg LP is an equal opportunity employer. The address once .com/careers.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
In-depth.
On 3, our unlimited data is actually unlimited, like for reals. That means you can scroll and scroll and scroll through all the Black Friday deals.
Because we have no speed limits, no data caps, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost.
Wow, so many savings.
Our Black Friday deals are now on. Save up to £480. Switch to 3, in-store or online. See 3.co.uk/unlimited-data. Savings on selected phones on 24-month contracts. Ends 5th of December. Terms apply.
If you're planning on driving this weekend, expect delays on the A406 North Circular Road. There'll be road closures between Tottenham and Edmonton from 10 p.m. on Friday the 22nd of November to 5 a.m. on Monday the 25th of November, while we carry out essential maintenance and repairs. All roads in the surrounding area will be extremely busy, so please allow more time for your journey and expect delays in the area. Plan ahead and check alternative routes at tfl.gov.uk. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
Coffee shop, cashback, cat flaps, cashback, beanbags, rucksack, hire car, buy a car, flapjack, cashback, dumbbells, cashback, takeaway, holiday to anywhere the sun is at, bum bag, laptop, big match, hatchback, binge watching, paintballing, crab fishing, cashback, anything you want to buy, everywhere you want to go. Guess what? Cashback. Whatever you spend your money on, get money back every time with the American Express Platinum Cashback Everyday Credit Card. Search Amex Cashback. Representative 22.9% APR variable. Minimum annual spend to receive cashback. Terms apply. 18 plus subject to approval.
When you're not listening to your team, take it to the end zone, the rim, or the net. Keep up with the biggest moments in sports by following TuneIn on social media.
Block, Cook into the end zone for the touchdown.
From reminders of the live top games to tips of the best sports stations and podcasts.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip
Follow
Bayless.
and TuneIn on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to get the most out of TuneIn. The puck drops. 12 players face off to win. The suspense is pure torture, but you wouldn't miss this for the world. TuneIn brings you every minute of the NHL season. Listen live to hockey when it matters most on TuneIn.
Hey, NFL fan, can't watch the game? Can't be there? No biggie. With your TuneIn Premium membership, you already have an all-access pass to every team and every game in the league. Amazing, right?
Steps up, floats it towards at the goal line. It's intercepted.
Listen live as the action unfolds or on demand when you can. Anytime, anywhere, all season long.
Right side, it is caught. It is in for the right side for the touchdown.
Search NFL today.
Want to know what's happening in right now?